Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and you are lucky enough to be here for the... Sorry, my screen's doing something weird. You're still lucky enough, though, to be here for the December 2019 virtual user group meeting for Tabs3 from Attorney Computer Systems. I'm not distracted, really. Today we are talking about all the new things that you're going to find in version 2020 of the financial software and, of course, of Tabs3. So without any further ado, then, I am going to hit all the right buttons while Mary Jo clicks in and starts telling us about what she's going to talk about first. What are you going to talk about first, Mary Jo?
I'm going to talk about dashboards because now in version 2020, tabs and accounts payable and general ledger and trust all have dashboards too. So in version 19, Practice Master had a dashboard, but now we have these really nice dashboards for all of the modules. So right now we're in tab 3. This is the dashboard here. We can see accounts receivable, and you can break that down by all or just the fees or just the cost for that time frame. And then you also can see the work in process and the value of that. Again, you can do just fees or just costs, and you can see it over time. That's nice. It's an aged view for accounts receivable and work in process. You can see your cash receipts down here. You can see this year or prior year, and it gives you this nice graph as to how your cash receipts are coming in. And you can also see your billing history, what was actually billed in dollar figures there. So that's really helpful for the dashboard for tabs. It gives everything on one view. That is nice. If we go into some of the other programs, and I'm not sure if I can get to my quick launch over here. Hold on. And we'll scroll down. Let's go over to Trust next, since that's next in line. Trust also has a nice dashboard. Maybe.
I am bringing it up.
I promise. I promise I clicked it. I'm like, I'm clicking it. It's not working. Yeah. So when it gets here, and we'll show you what's on the Trust dashboard.
Yeah, hold on. I'm pulling it up.
Sure.
There we go.
No problem.
Came up on the other screen.
There it is.
There we go.
No worries. All right, so the Trust dashboard is going to show you some different information. It's going to show you all of your Trust bank accounts that you have at the top and their balances, so that's just helpful to see that when the last reconciliation has happened. And you can even click a Reconcile button right from there to start that. And what I think is really cool is the recent Trust transactions. So you can right away see all of the recent things you've deposited or the things that you've written out as checks or transferred as EFTs, all in one area here. And you also can add a transaction right from here by clicking the Add Transaction button, and it takes you right into Trust Transactions where you can put in your Trust account ID and enter your transaction, whether it's a deposit or a withdrawal. You also can hit Print Checks right from this screen as well, and it will take you right into your Print Trust Checks module, and you're able to print your checks right from there too. So these things are all just things that are helpful that they've brought out front into your focus so that you can see them at a glance on that dashboard. We're going to move on to the accounts payable dashboard, and Paul may need to move that over here as well. Maybe not. That one just opened up over here. How funny. So here is accounts payable. It is. You just never know. It's a surprise. So on the accounts payable dashboard, we get to see all the unpaid invoices and the value of that, and you can print those checks right from here. You see your unposted checks or EFTs, so if you forgot to post, this dashboard is going to show you that you have items that you didn't post yet. Maybe you did a check and you printed it but you didn't post it, or you entered an EFT and you didn't post it. This is a good check to see if there's anything out there that you haven't done. And then you can see all of the things that you've paid this month and go directly to the check register. So just to, go to the unpaid invoices, I just clicked on the print checks. It's just taking me right out to that print checks screen. The post checks, again, just taking me out to the post checks. And I could do that right away. And then the check register takes me right to the check register report there. So all of that right from the dashboard. And then down here, we have all of the unpaid invoices. So anything that we currently have outstanding that we need to pay, we could go ahead and click on those right from here and do a quick print if you want, or you could edit those invoices. change them, whatever you need to do from here, and you can add an invoice right from the dashboard. So we're kind of eliminating a lot of steps. We don't have to go over to our quick launch even and go into each of these things. We can do it all right from the dashboard. So if I click Add Invoice, it's just taking me directly to the invoice manual check entry, and I can pick my vendor and enter my information. So that's a really nice one there as well. We're going to move into the last dashboard, and it's the General Ledger dashboard. So I'm going to open General Ledger, and you'll see the new things that we have on this dashboard as well. So we'll go over here. So this one, again, just like the trust account, we're going to have all of our bank accounts. We're going to be able to see the last reconciliation. We are going to be able to reconcile from here if we want, and we'll be able to see all of the recent bank transactions. Now you can see it's the bank transactions. It's not all of our recent journal entries, and unless the bank is involved in that, we're going to see all the bank transactions. So what's been going on in and out of our bank account, so the most recent items. And you can even add journal entries right from this dashboard as well. So if I just click that, it's going to take me right into a journal entry for me to go ahead and create it on the fly. So all of these just bring a lot of the most used items, I feel, in each of the modules right up into our focus on a dashboard, be able to see things from a higher up view, and then go down into things much, much easier. So that is a huge, huge thing that's brand new 2020. And Paul's going to talk about some others. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, first I'm going to acknowledge that Leanne texted me to say that she's got a question. There she is. Hi, Leanne. What's the question?
Hello. This question is about the trust module. If staff has very limited access to the trust module, they can just see a ledger. Will they have access to the dashboard? And if so, can you turn it off?
Yes, that's a great question. So the dashboards are all part of the access profile in your setup in system configuration. They each have their own line items, so if they can get into the trust module dashboard, you can say yes or no. I believe it's an all or nothing. You can't say that they can get into part of the dashboard and not another part. They either have access to the dashboard or they don't, and that's available in all of the programs. So you can go into the access profile for whichever users you want and turn that on or off for that profile. So it is a global setting. It's dashboard yes or no kind of a thing. So if they're allowed to see recent trust transactions in that part of it, but they don't have access to the dashboard, they won't be able to see it on the dashboard. It doesn't just leave it there. Other questions?
Okay. I think that's it for now. And I'm going into positive pay. Is that right, Mary Jo?
I think so.
Okay, so positive pay, what is that? It used to be one of our most popular custom reports that we would write for people because the software didn't do it. And so we lost that about, 3 or 4 months ago when they came out with this version 2020, or at least when they released it in beta. And now it's there. So what is positive pay? Positive pay is telling the bank which checks you have written, how much, what check number, and what date. Those are usually the minimal details that you need to send them. So that when somebody presents a check, they will check it against this list that you've already submitted, and if the check that they're presenting is not on that list, that check will not be honored. So you are positively identifying the checks that you have produced so that only those checks will be paid by the bank. And so we're in trust. I guess we have it in here. I have to think about where it is. It's in trust, accounts payable, and general ledger. No, I'm sorry. Trust, accounts payable. I guess trust and accounts payable. And so what you're doing is you're telling it which account to use. That was that first screen. Which fields to include, because pay and bank account number are kind of extra. A lot of banks don't require them. Whether or not you're including the column headers, and whether or not you're including voided checks and how you're identifying them. Once you've set these things up, they'll continue to default this way, so you really just click through and give it a date range. Now, most often what you're doing, and these are the dates that the checks were printed, So most often what you're doing is you're printing a batch of checks, and then you're coming right over here, creating this file, and uploading it. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the desktop, and we're going to export it, and we're going to kind of cross our fingers because we didn't really test this before. But we're going to go out to that desktop real quick. We're going to pull it up here, and we're going to look at it. And of course, I pulled it up there, and then it opened it down here. And so this is what it's doing. It's creating this file. And I guess I didn't mean to do that. We do want word wrap on. It's creating this file, and in this one, it doesn't have, it knows how big it is, so it's not putting these hard returns in. But as you can see, there's a header. And then here's our first entry. And it's a check for so much from, oh, I think I went too far. Basically, it's a check written on this day. There's the check number. There's the amount, and it was a void. So this one was a void. Here's another. Here's a check number, who it was to, how much it was for, and that's the bank account number right there. So these things are coming out in a form. Now you don't really care about this. You probably won't even look at this. What you do is you then take this file here, you upload it to your bank through their mechanism, and that's all there is to it. So this is a new feature really to meet a need that was introduced about 2 or 3 years ago when banks started to say, hey, we're going to either require that you start doing this, or we're going to offer you a lower rate as an incentive to get you to start doing this so that we will have less fraud. I've had clients that have had problems with fraudulent checks, and so they've been required by their bank to do it. And I've had other clients that when they went to switch from one bank to another, they were required by the new bank to do it just because it's a new bank account. So you're bound to run into this sooner or later if you haven't already. It's called positive pay, and most banks are starting to require it all over the place, on your operating account, on your trust account, on just about everything. Mary Jo? Mary Jo?
Whoops, I was muted again. So hard to get used to. All right, so while we're still in trust, they have expanded the version or the automatic payments to allow you to do all. This is a default. So if you're doing automatic trust payments, I believe you can go underneath customization. And I can't because everybody's in here. But what you do, if you have automatic payments to tabs set up, you can actually check a box now to say automatic all instead of fees and all that, and it will automatically apply all to a bill if you want to in tabs. And we also have, let's see, I want to go back into accounts payable because in accounts payable, we have the bank balance coming over to all areas now, and you'll be able to actually see there's a warning now if you're going to cut a check out that's going to exceed the amount in your bank account. So there's a little warning screen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it in the sample data, but there is an actual warning box that will pop up, and it will say, hey, here's your beginning balance in your bank account, and you don't have enough to pay. This check's going to make that balance. So it's going to actually give you that warning. Paul's going to open up our document because I think we were going to show this anyway. So the what's new, if you go into your help, what's new, and you can select version 2020,
right there,
you'll get these release notes. Mm-hmm.
And then you get these
and then
release
on this
notes,
release
then,
notes, the article number right there. Yep, so that article number right there in knowledge base is going to take you into the what's new. So if we just click on the trust, that's where I was going to show you that now we've got that customization for automatic payment, so I can actually show you what that looks like here. So down here in this box, we now have the all option on there. And then if we go down to our accounts payable, we have the print checks alert. So I'm going to click on that, and there it is. So you get a nice balance alert here that tells you amount to pay and amount that the current bank balance says you have, and you want to print it anyway. Now, it's still going to let you go ahead and print that check. It's not going to stop you. But it's going to tell you that, hey, you've got a bank balance issue here. And then when printing the cash requirements report, you'll also see if there's any other checks or EFTs that are paid and unposted and things like that on there. So you can get into that and view that bank balance there as well.
And I'm going to jump in and ask the question that we're anticipating, which is, can that be restricted? And I think it can. I think you can still print these reports, but if you don't have the right to see the bank balance and have had that taken away from you through the access profiles, it just will not show these balance-related fields.
Right, and it even says that there in the note on there. It says, in order to view the bank balance in the invoice manual checks, select invoices windows, you must have access to that and access profiles. So if they don't, they won't be able to see that. It's just not there. It's not like the dashboard with all or nothing. Right, they look at the bank balance. The last thing I have is that the help is different, and then I think Paul has LaPay to talk about. But the help now opens in your default browser window. So it's a whole different view. It looks much different and better. So I think you'll enjoy that when you go up to your help screens. Check that out with version 2020. It's much nicer.
It also no longer requires a local install to run. So if you've ever gotten that message, sorry, we can't run help for you because you're not installed locally, that's no longer a thing. That's gone. So this new way of doing help eliminates that problem also. And I'm going to talk about LaPay, and really I'm just going to go back into tabs here. And I'm going to go into a payment entry screen. Now, I don't even think we have the LaPay integration loaded here, so I'm just going to really kind of talk about it. LaPay is like the other integration that we've had for several years, and I'm calling it the other rather than what it's really called because I'm going to tell you the differences, and there's some differences that are less favorable in that other interface. So for starters, when you come into a payment and you have LaPay installed, which is very simple to do, there's a little link over here that says Add LaPay Payment Type. And you can click on that that link to Add LaPay Payment Type and set up the credit card details for this client. You'll notice I said client, not matter. So if you've used the other payment integration, you know that you're setting up credit cards on a matter level. And you know that that means that if you have a dozen matters for the same client and they're all being paid by credit card, you need to enter those credit card details 12 times. Now it'll save them with that matter, so you don't have to re-enter them. But if you get a new matter for the same client for whom you've already stored the credit card details 12 times, you need to add those credit card details the 13th time. Not true with LaPay. What's happening here with LaPay is that you're identifying a payment method. It's being tied to the client. So the 100 in this equation, not the 100.01, but just the 100. And then when you come in to pay Michael Larson against a Michael Larson matter, or whoever the client is, when you drop down this list here, his credit card will be identified as one of the credit cards that you can use to pay that matter. So you store it on a client level, and then you can use it for whatever matters you want. That's very cool. For all intents and purposes, other than those and a couple other details that I'm going to tell you about differences, it's pretty much like the other integrations we have. You come in here, you can select to pay by credit card using whichever method is appropriate in LaPay or just by credit card. And when you go to pay, it will pull it from that credit card. So it's basically just like you did before. You can put the details in right here. You can reuse them on this integration. You can reuse them on a client level, not a matter level. So you've got a lot more flexibility there. You could have a client with 14 matters, and you only put that card in once, and you can pay against any of the 14 matters. They will give you a page to send people to just generically pay you, okay? The other processor would do this, but they would charge you $400 to set it up. With LaPay, it's right there in your account. You can actually get the link right there when you go into their dashboard. Their dashboard is a lot nicer than the other company that provides back-end payment services, the other integration. It's really very pretty, very slick. You can do just about anything in it. And if you process a payment in there, or if a client pays against that generic page, not the one that we're all used to where the link appears in the email and they click on the link and it knows exactly which bill they're paying and exactly how much they're paying. But if they use that generic page, or if you process a transaction in the dashboard, the online dashboard for LaPay yourself, outside the scope of Tabs doing it for you, you can still import that transaction into Tabs. You may have to identify which matter it goes with, but unlike the other processor where they would give you a generic page that a customer could go to and just say, I want to pay this firm $500 and here's my credit card info, LaPay will give you that page, and when the client goes to do that, you'll get an email, and when you go into Tabs, you'll be able to pull that transaction right into Tabs. That's huge. Now, LaPay also has a recurring feature where you can set up to pay, let's say, $100 a month until it gets to a certain balance, until it gets to a certain date, whatever, however you set it up. Those cannot come in automatically to Tabs yet, although when I was doing a webinar with somebody from LaPay last Friday, they seemed to indicate that that was already in the works. And finally, the last thing that is a difference between the LaPay integration and the integration that's been around for about 5 years, LaPay has live tech support, and their goal is to answer your call on the first ring. So if you've ever tried to get tech support from that other provider that has provided integration within Tabs for about 4 or 5 years, you know that they only will support you via email, and it's very hard to get answers from them. LaPay, it's a telephone number that you call. You will speak directly to somebody who's going to solve your problem, and that person will hopefully answer your call after the first ring. So that's all we have there. Leanne, did I see a question come up? Oh, I answered the question. Yeah, okay. I'm catching up here, Leanne. So that question got answered, and that's it. Now, I will tell you that version 2020 marks the beginning of something new, where a new version will come out in the fall of every year. So we expect version 2021 to be released to beta sometime around, let's say, August or September of next year, and to be released for general sales and for updates sometime around November. That means that we don't have quite as many new things, but we're putting out major updates every year. And don't be surprised if something comes in the meantime. Something special that is not a version 2021 release. It's part of 2020, but it just pops in there. One thing that they're doing now is they are putting a banner up at the top when you log in to tell you if you are authorized to know this, that there's an update. So when something new and cool comes in that's not part of the next year's release, you'll know about it right away. I will also tell you that we are taking a hiatus from doing the virtual user group meetings for 3 months for the first quarter of 2020. And we're doing that because we are restructuring how we do this. We have a couple new products. We have NetDocuments and CosmoLex, which we are also going to introduce virtual user group meetings for. And we're going to have different people help me with that. So Mary Jo will still be around for at least one of these, at least part of the time. But you'll see other faces in here too, Gwen and Leanne and Sharon. We'll see all sorts of people helping me with these virtual user group meetings and also with the e-bites. So in order to prepare for that, we won't be doing any new content for the first quarter. We will probably send out recorded versions of our greatest hits or something like that. So you'll probably still see new content coming at you, but I do want to still tell you that if you go to www.attorneycomputersystems.com, noticing, of course, that I emphasize that last S in the word systems, because without it, you won't get to the right place. If you will either hover over or click on the word videos in our menu bar, and I'm going to click on it, it will take you to when you click on it, it takes you to a page that gives you a bigger description for each of these things. And I will tell you that as of right now, we have 6 titles in our video series, or our video library. We have 4 that are live. Of course, you know about the virtual user group meetings, and 4 of those live events are, 3 of those 4 live events are virtual user group meetings. We are currently in the Tabs virtual user group meeting, and we also have them for Practice Master and World Docs. And as I said, or implied, CosmoLex and NetDocuments will probably be added to that equation. We also have my Coffee Pot webinar, which is what we did last week with somebody from LaPay. This is where I invite somebody in from a third-party company that offers something that enhances the value of one of our core products. In this instance, it was LaPay, enhancing the value of Tabs and AP and Trust, or Tabs and Trust. And we talk about their product. We ask them questions. They talk about it. They demonstrate it. They talk about pricing, all that stuff. If you click on, and we also have our 2 pre-recorded video series. We have the eBites video series that currently is all Mary Jo, but that's going to change soon. And so right now, Mary Jo is recording 3 of these each month, 1 on Tabs, 1 on Practice Master, 1 on World Docs. These are little short 2 or 3 minute videos where we take something really cool that we can explain very quickly, and we record a video about it. For those things that take a little bit longer to explain, we have the longer format Paul and Mary Jo show. These will probably still be around and just not recorded just by me and Mary Jo. Right now, we put 1 out each month, and right now they are limited to Tabs, Practice Master, and World Docs. So those are our titles. I'm going to take you into the Tabs virtual user group meeting just to show you that when you get in there, you get the title of the series. Oops, didn't do that right. The title of the series, a very short description of what that is. So this description right here is a description of the Tabs virtual user group meeting. And then since it's a live event, we see date and time and information and registration for that next live event. We are also in throes of redoing our content, so you may get this notice that tells you, hey, these are a little messed up. They don't show you everything here, but they're still in there. So if I were to click on them, here is a recorded version of the Net Documents integration and viewing active users in Tabs 3. That's the one of the Tabs virtual user group meetings that we did recently. So we have recorded versions of everything that we've ever done, whether it's live or whether it's just plain pre-recorded. We have a search box up here, and you can scroll through and take a look. If you do come in here while we're remodeling, you'll get that notice that you saw that popped up, but it will direct you to our YouTube page if you want to really browse and take a look at what we've got available. But the point is, we've got somewhere between 800 and 900 videos on our YouTube channel that we're remodeling the interface to our website, and they are available free of charge, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So please take advantage of them. That's what they're there for. And that's it for today. Everybody have a good rest of the day, rest of the month, rest of the year, and a good holiday. And we'll see you sometime in the second quarter of 2020. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, Leanne?
Sorry, a question just came in. Do you have time?
A very late question. We do. May not make it into the real recording, but hey, you don't have to be stars. What's the question?
When will LaPay's integration with Tabs3 Billing and Trust Accounting can streamline collections be posted? That was from December 13th. Let's see.
In other words, when will the video from last Friday be posted? It's in post-production right now. I'd anticipate that it's out probably next week. It may not be till the first part of 2020, simply because we've got so many people having vacations right now. If you registered for the webinar and are just looking for the recording, you will get an email notifying you when it's ready with a link to it. And if you didn't register for that webinar last Friday that whoever is asking about, you can just shoot me a quick email, paul.purdue@attorneycomputerssystems.com. Remember, it's Purdue like the school, not the chicken, so it's Purdue. And I'll make sure that we get you that recording when it's available. Very good. Thanks, Leanne. Oh, I see more questions. What do we got?
It's just a thank you.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Very good. So, yeah, those will be going out this week or next, or maybe in 2020, but yeah, we'll get them out soon. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.